So Alen Babic took on Steve Robinson on the undercard of the Fraser Clark versus Fabio Wardley main event. Now, this was a very, very, very good competitive, all action type of fight that most boxing fans would pretty much dream of to watch. But it wasn't shown live on the day of the event. It was pretty much on the preliminary bouts. But it was a good domestic dust up, and it kind of mirrored, in a similar kind of weird way, the main event between Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark, in terms of these two guys going hell for leather, and leaving it all in the ring, especially Alen Babic. Now, hats off goes to Steve Robinson. He fought really well, and is a very, very tough guy. He lasted the 6 rounds with Alen Babic, and there was multiple times in those 6 rounds where he could have easily have got stopped or knocked out, but he somehow stayed on his feet. And if it wasn't for the referee calling it off in the 6th round, he probably would still be in there today fighting against Alen Babic. And yeah, it's a shame really, because he didn't really cause Alen Babic any trouble at all, and it was quite evident the difference in experience and the difference in um, styles and ability from round one. Because from round one, Alen Babic come out like a steam train, and we all know Alen Babic does this because he's similar to a Florian Marcu. Marcu and Babic have got a similar same type of style. Um, but obviously Babic is a heavier opponent. Sorry, a fighter than Florian Marcu, so he's kind of similar type of fighter, but just in heavyweights. But yeah, we all know Babic. He comes out straight from the get go, all guns blazing, and he did that with Steve Robinson and was lighting him up first round, literally catching him with some big hooks, big uppercuts. And what he does really well, Babic, is that he stays on your chest. He puts his head down, you know what I mean, right on your chest, and sometimes will go head to head with you. You know what I mean, stay nice and close, and then he would just whip the left or the right hook over the top, or just whip the uppercut underneath. Sometimes where you can't really see the shots coming, and it obviously catches you and it drains you. And that's exactly what happened, because from round one, round two, round three, etc., he was just catching Robinson with loads of these big, powerful shots, and he was just draining him and zapping him. And you could see that Robinson just looked fatigued. And it's weird because when you're looking at a fight and you think, you know what, it's only 3 rounds in and you look knackered, and you're thinking, surely you would have trained for the fight. And the answer is yes, he's trained for the fight, but he hasn't trained for maybe an opponent like Babic, and he probably hasn't fought someone like Babic in his career to date. Babic is, how can I say it? He's an unusual type of opponent, but if you're taking a fight like this, you have to get similar sort of sparring partners in. I'm not sure if that was the case, but as I said, it just didn't go to plan with him and his team. His team didn't really give him good information in the corner either. And I felt that they should have probably pulled him out 2 rounds before he actually got stopped, but that's my opinion, obviously. But looking at his record, Steve Robinson, he hasn't got much experience in terms of the pro game. He's had 9 fights in total with 6 wins and 3 losses. He's had 4 KO wins and he's suffered 1 KO loss. The most notable people on his record that I could see are Nick Campbell, okay, which is probably his best win today. He knocked him out in TKO victory in 4 rounds. And then he fought a Franklin Ignatius, which he lost on points in an 8 round contest before stepping up to take on someone like a Babic. So realistically, the experience, the opponents that he's been in with are nowhere near the like of the ones that Babic has been in there with. Babic has been in there with quite a lot of opponents himself. Not many more fights than Robinson, but he's been in there with more better heavyweights than the ones that are on Robinson's record. The most notable one, I'd probably say for Babic, is probably the Molina one where he stopped him in 2 rounds. But Molina's old at this point, so it is what it is. In his last fight, Babic, he actually got stopped in the first round, and this was at Bridgerweight. He got stopped by a guy called Lucas Wazinski, and this was for the Bridgerweight title. And obviously, he didn't want to run it back with this Wazinski guy, because that Wazinski guy is now taking on Lawrence Okoli in his next fight. And that should be on the 24th of May, okay? And that's for the Bridgerweight title, because obviously Okoli wants to become a two-weight champion. But yeah, see what happens with obviously Babic going forward. Don't really rate Babic, but Babic does give you an exciting fight. Tell you what, I would love to see in terms of a Babic fight. I'd love to see him versus Derek Chisora, if that's possible. In terms of money wise, it's not possible because Babic doesn't bring anything to the table. But in terms of excitement, that fight would be so exciting because these guys would just be standing in the middle of the ring, no movement, just letting their hands go. That would be so exciting. But yeah, that fight won't happen. But I think it would be an exciting fight to watch. But Babic, I'm not sure what he plans to do because he's obviously been down to Bridgerweight, got stopped in the first round, come back up to heavyweight to fight someone like a Steve Robinson, who is a big heavyweight, by the way, in terms of height. He's 6'7" or 6'9" or something like that. He's quite tall, and you can see that in the fight on the weekend. Not on the weekend, but you can see that when these two fought against each other in the ring. But I'm not sure what Babic does because I don't feel as if he's big enough to be a heavyweight, or he could, I don't feel as if he's got too much power to actually stop any of the bigger heavyweights or the better heavyweights in the top 10, top 15. But I don't know. Is it just a case where you take fights to probably, get paychecks or what? I'm not too sure. But if you run it to probably win titles, then I'd probably say his best chance is probably going back down to Bridgerweight and probably taking on either a Coley or Rosinski, depending on the winner basically. Can he make Cruiser? That's a question mark as well. Not too sure. But regardless, anyway, he's not a young pup. He's 33 years of age, so he needs to get a move on if he wants to kind of win a title. But that's my thoughts on the Babic versus Robinson fight. And hopefully where I would like to see Babic go next. And as I said, he's an exciting fighter who would just leave it all in the ring. Not much skill, but just a lot of heart, grit, and determination, and to try and stop someone in the ring, and that's what Babic is. Robinson, on the other hand, probably should. I don't want to say call it a day because he's only had 9 professional fights, but for someone that big, good attributes, doesn't really use it well. It reminds me of like a David Price or Audley Harrison. Got the physicality, but just hasn't really got the ability. But anyway, that's my thoughts. You guys let me know yours. As always, guys, please subscribe and comment. Bless.